Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to yet another episode with iTrack. Big shout out to all the iTrack fam tapping in like you always do. Huge shout out to all the members, man. We are dropping videos, member only videos in the member section. So big shout out to you guys. We're definitely on that Sunday flow. And typically on Sundays, what we like to do is accommodate all the new fam that just subscribed to the channel. So what that means is one brand new video, one of the greats on the back end, so we can catch everybody up. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash the subscribe button, join the iTrack fam, and let's just jump straight into it.
Best place in the world to be lonely, hands down, I think it's gotta be Japan. I was just learning about how in Japan, you can literally rent a father figure for as low as $7 an hour. There's this company called Osan Rental, and when you translate Osan into English, it literally translates into middle-aged man. So it's literally a middle-aged man rental service where someone will pretend to be your dad or your sibling or your spouse. For an hourly rate, they'll pretend to care about you and know you and ask you questions that perhaps your real father never did. And that's just the beginning of the loneliness industry in Japan. They also have this concept of a cuddle cafe where you can literally go somewhere and pay someone to take a nap with you and be big spoon. Everything is non-sexual, and like out of some sort of dystopian novel, there are upsells for everything. Like hugging is an upsell. If you want to look the girl in the eye for a minute straight, that's also an upsell service that they provide. Loneliness is such an issue in Japan that they actually appointed a minister of loneliness to help find solutions. And some of the most popular solutions there literally encourage robotic friendship and robotic romantic relationships. They're called social robots. There's this company called Gatebox there. It's almost like their Apple. This company uses AI to pretend to be your friend or significant other. It randomly texts you, and it even makes plans to hang out. And they recently introduced a holographic product that you can actually put in your house and make this seem even more real. From solo dining ramen shops with partitions that make eating alone less awkward, to capsule hotels, which are hotels where every room is essentially a pod only designed to fit one person. Japan is the ultimate destination for loners. So what do you think? Would you pack up everything and move here?
It might just be me, but it seemed like everything that they tried to implement seemed to encourage more loneliness, right? It didn't encourage people getting together and communicating. It pretty much encouraged the opposite. So it's pretty wild. Let me know what you think, though.
When I got into UFOs, you go down a lot of rabbit holes, and it kept leading me back to spirituality, and consciousness became a fundamental reason why they're here. That either they want what we got or they don't have what we got and they're curious. There's some reason why, to me, I'm not saying everyone will believe this, and I know it gets tricky territory, but it always seemed to me that all the religions of the world were saying the same thing and having the same UFO experiences. I started looking at all the religions, and I started reading about all the religions. I started reading the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Gnostic texts and the older books of the Bible, and I was really noticing that there's two categories that were all the same. Like, all the UFO events seem to be the same in all these religions, and every religion seemed to have this, where there's a physical body that's tethered to an all-knowing kind of field of energy that we all call God, but to some people, what's that old saying? Like, what you call God and what we call the sum of all the physical laws of the universe is the same thing. It's something that powerful that creates life.
Type 1 civilization is maybe 100 years more advanced than us, to maybe 1,000 years, sort of like Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon. They control the weather. Volcanoes, earthquakes, anything planetary, they control. That's type 1. Then there's type 2. Type 2 is stellar. They harness the power of an entire star, like Star Trek. Star Trek would be a typical type 2 civilization where they manipulate entire stars. Then there's type 3. Type 3 is galactic. They roam the galactic space lanes. They play with black holes. That's why I say that assumes that these aliens or whatever are maybe 100 years more advanced than us. But open your mind to the possibility that they are 1,000 years more advanced than us. 1,000 years is nothing compared to the age of the universe.
Till Lindeman's eyes shapeshift into something else entirely. And if we replay and slow-mo the video and watch closely, you can actually see the details of what looks like a reptile type of eye. What the heck is going on here? And what's even creepier is that just moments before and after, his eyes look completely normal. It's as if whatever happened in seconds, and most people did not realize this.
I've seen a few different videos debunking that whole situation, but it's creepy nonetheless.
Screen record this. Screen record it, please, please, please. Get the thing glowing. I can't believe I'm holding it this still. My back is not... Wait, I gotta adjust my back. Ugh. Oh my god, I would kill for a tripod. Screen record it. Everybody screen record this and share it tomorrow. If you tag me, that would be freaking cool. You don't have to, though. You don't have to tag me. But, oh my god, it's got... It looks like it's got little fuzzy hairs on it. It looks crazy. This is live, guys. This is live. I just happened to put the lens on perfectly, and I zoomed right in on it. That was actually lucky. Now I'm having problems getting it, trying to keep it still. It looks like it has a little smiley face. Oh, I would do anything for a tripod right now. I don't know how much longer I can hold it like this. How do you screen record? Somebody answer her. Oh, it's getting smaller. It's getting smaller. I can still see it with my eyes, though. I'm looking at it. Dude, it's glitching out.
Pay attention to the water, not the skies. That's what I told all of you, but did you listen? No. And now multiple reports coming out of Florida are confirming from sailors, Navy officers, military personnel that there is in fact a mothership under the water off the coast of Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, there have also been sightings of over 1,000 different orbs that are floating above this mothership. I kept trying to tell you, I'm an air sign, but something kept saying, it's more about the water. It's the water. They're not showing up in the skies. There are going to be versions of them showing up in the sky, but pay attention to the water. When I got into that council meeting, all I could feel afterwards was we're being misguided. We're being misdirected. It's not over the skies. It's in our oceans. And now people are coming forward claiming and saying that they've seen it. So and before you say photos or didn't exist, I have so many friends from Florida sending me videos and photos. I have them, but TikTok has this thing where it removes the video if you attach those. So I'm just going to say, take what you will, leave what you won't. But I told you, pay attention to the water, not the sky. And obviously anything is for entertainment, education, conversation purposes only, but you're smart.
Hive Moderation AI, I have just uploaded the video of the Dragon capsule landing in the ocean because I'm convinced that it is AI generated. Hive Moderation detects AI generated video. So let's see what it comes up with. And 18 minutes later, here is our result. Overall, the video is likely to contain AI generated or deepfake content. Wow.
I can honestly tell you, I'm not that surprised. I really do live by the motto, believe half of what you see and only some of what you hear. I believe that's how it goes, but you know, a lot of AI and a lot of CGI is going on, man, and you got to really do your homework. But let me know what you think, though.
What if you're not crazy? What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if your neurodivergence is just your mind's way of adapting to an overstimulating, inhumane, and toxic society? What if there's something wrong with the world? and your brain just adapted and found a way to continue to exist in this fucked up ass place. What if there's nothing wrong with you? What if you're actually the evolved one and everyone else is just behind? What about that?
Hey, but no, for real, like, that does make a lot of sense sometimes. There are moments when you definitely feel like it just can't be me. The world is tripping. It can't be me, right? Like, I don't know. He was cooking right there.
This story is like something out of a horror movie. A crisis has developed at South Africa's remote Sene 4 research base in Antarctica. It's about 2,500 miles from home. Last month, a member of the 9-person team sent an urgent email reporting a male researcher physically assaulted one colleague and threatened to kill another. They fear for their safety and requested help. But this base is now cut off from the sea, and any evacuation flight could face winds exceeding 130 miles per hour and sub-zero temperatures. The team isn't scheduled to return to South Africa until mid-December. And yes, these researchers undergo psychological evaluations. Government officials say that the situation is under control and everyone is cooperating with specialists who are mediating the situation, and that the person in question has shown remorse. But this isn't the first time this has happened at the base. There have been several altercations in the past, with at least 2 people evacuated during previous expeditions. And this has raised questions about the reliability of the tests used to screen people.
What if I told you that the Kardashians' fame and fortune wasn't the result of luck, but that of witchcraft? Let me share with you the legend of Kardashian. This is apparently Kardashian. And the story goes that she was an ancestor of the Kardashians that lived in Armenia centuries ago. The story goes a few different ways. I've heard versions where she was, not treated properly. And then I heard some versions where that was left out. But she was apparently desperate for power. She ended up finding a secret coven of witches. She offered her soul in turn for beauty, wealth, power, and influence for her and all her descendants. Well, I guess just for her descendants. And that's where the Kardashians come in, of course. And now they have everything that I mentioned that Kiko gave her soul for. But there was apparently a price. And you may have heard of this, the Kardashian curse. The theory is that men that get involved with this family face misfortune in their futures. Now, was that just a coincidence? Or was it all because of this apparent Kardashian? I would love to hear what you think. Please let me know. I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.
I mean, I don't know if they all took L's. It seems like Kanye might be the exception. Outside of the baby mama drama, yeah, he's pretty much the one winning. And the Kardashians just kept going up. It's not like the guys were taking L's. It just they kept going up and the guys pretty much stayed the same.
Most powerful people master the art of not being needed. Most people chase importance. They want to be irreplaceable, needed, depended on. They think power comes from being the one everyone turns to, the one who holds all the answers, the one no one can do without. But the truth? Needing to be needed is just another form of control. And real power comes from the opposite, from being free. The strongest people, they don't make themselves indispensable. They make themselves untouchable. They don't tie their worth to others' reliance. They don't beg for a seat at any table. They move how they want, when they want, with no strings attached. And nothing makes people panic more than realizing they don't own a piece of you. They can't control you with guilt, favors, or expectations. You're not tied down, and you never will be. Because the less you need from people, the more control you have over your own life. And the moment they realize you don't rely on them, that's when you truly own the game.
Hey, that's all facts, nothing but gems, man. I promise you.
Oh my goodness. I called the emergency. They said to call leasing office. Leasing office said they're unavailable. Oh my God.
matter how ordinary someone is, they still believe they're unique, and that belief is the perfect way to make them think exactly what you want. This is day 19 of Infiltrating Thoughts. People don't just want to be unique, they need to be. It's wired into us. The brain clings to anything that makes us feel special because it reinforces our self-worth. If you want to plant an idea in someone's head, don't present it as something everyone believes. Instead, frame it as a perspective that only a select few are smart enough, strong enough, or independent enough to understand. Make it seem like the masses don't get it, only those who truly think for themselves do. The moment someone accepts that framing, their ego does the rest. And once a belief becomes part of their identity, they won't just accept it, they'll defend it with everything they have.
You know Jeremy Corbell? He's like really involved with like the whistleblower, and he was being interviewed. He's like, UFOs are real. They've been here for a very long time. The US government has known about it for a very long time. What you don't know is that there is going to be a giant lie that they want you to believe in.
Interesting.
The lie is going to be that there is going to be a giant craft slowly headed towards Earth, and this is the lie, that it will arrive in 2027.
What?
So what does that mean?
What do you think? You think they're telling the truth?
My whole thought is like, there's so many people that I've seen like all this end time prophecy stuff is happening, all this weird stuff is happening, like Jesus is coming back really soon.
Yeah.
But my thought is like, if you were a believer and you were so disconnected from news, would you still be able to sense there's something off right now?
Francis Chan, like getting worked up on it, it's the scariest thing to me. It's like
2,000
Adam
years.
to Abraham is 2,000 years. Abraham to Jesus is 2,000. And approximately Jesus to now is another 2,000. We have the precedent of a grouping of 6 and then a 7th day of rest, or he says the 1,000-year reign could be what's coming.
This is literally the sign to stop eating KFC chicken. If you still indulging in KFC, you must like humans. So y'all, KFC just dropped a commercial like 6 days ago. And they literally telling you in your face what their chicken is. This was by far one of the weirdest, craziest, demonic looking shit I ever seen all in one. They be telling us right in our face, and people just look at the commercial and be like, oh, that was so unique. They're thinking outside of the box. No, they're thinking inside of your skin, fool. What does the shirt say? God, take a look at this commercial. Really pay attention. Okay, you got the chicken. You got a sweater floating down. Then watch the people like in a cult or something. A big giant egg. They take the person to the water. Watch what happened, y'all. Now somebody explain to me, why on earth would they make a commercial showing them dipping a human into some water, turning them into chicken, KFC chicken? I don't really need the answer. I was just saying, I already know the answer. Do you? Let me know in the comments. This shit crazy, fool.
Eat now, pay later. DoorDash is partnering with Klarna to let customers put their food delivery on a payment plan. This option will be available through the DoorDash app, and you'll be able to set up a plan for food and even big ticket items like electronics and furniture. Customers can choose pay in full right away, pay in 4 installments, or wait to pay another time. Be sure to download Fox Local for live streaming, news, and more.
Now let me be the first to tell you, if you're putting your food on layaway, there's something wrong. If you're making payments on your food that you purchased through a Uber Eats or any one of those, there's something wrong. I'm gonna leave that right there.
MrBeast. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. According to the Bible, official toy of MrBeast, head of a leopard, teeth of a lion, and feet of a bear. Revelation 32 about the beast. It goes on with one of its heads seems to have been wounded, but now it's well. Interesting lightning which comes out of the leopard's head. What about the Antichrist? The Antichrist will support the beast and will produce great signs and wonders in order to deceive. MrBeast cured the the blindness of 1,000 people by spending money for a necessary operation of those people. Very biblical. He built over 100 wells in Africa, so he creates water out of nothing. He's also known under MrBeast 6000, so you got a 6 and 3 placeholders by putting the mark of the beast inside 666 plus 66 plus 66 equals 1998, which is coincidentally his birth year. His wife wrote a book, The Marked Children, which also reminds me to this here.
Cloning on this earth.
Everybody who has technology, anybody who has a lot of money.
How?
Most people who have $1 billion plus.
Why they are cloning?
Because exactly like a human being, and you can use them.
Which way?
Any way you want, sexually, as an assassin, as anything you want. Not feels, but thinks, act identically to the person.
The consciousness, is it transferred into it?
Yes.
Did you meet a clone?
I don't know. I know that many people have seen many of mine. It's the same in every way, but a programmable version of it.
I don't know if Chinese engineers are building robots or training them for the Olympics, because this just came out today. This robot, the G1, just nailed the side flip. It's never been done before in the robotics world, and to say it's impressive is an understatement, because just imagine the insane amount of data it had to process within milliseconds to land on its feet. And the G1, by the way, is called the Kung Fu robot because it will catch you outside. I did a video on how it trains if you want to check that out. And this is not a one-off. Chinese engineers are pushing the boundaries of robotics. Just a few weeks ago, we had the PM01 become the world's first humanoid robot to land a front flip, and very seamlessly, might I say. And again, with the cheers and the shouts. And I mean, I don't even know these engineers, but I'm super excited for them because front flips are a lot more challenging than back flips. Front flips push the weight forward, which makes it really hard to control balance. Back flips, on the other hand, I mean, they're still an achievement, but in China, they're kind of old news, been there, done that. This cute one, the N2, is tiny, 4.2, but it won't stop flipping, one after another after another. But what's more impressive for me is the H1, the G1's taller cousin, because at 5'11", that is one big boy. And before you think this is all for show, these flips actually matter because they help the robots become more agile, more stable, and they help the engineers refine the AI and the motion mechanics, because these machines, they're not going to stay in the lab forever. They're not going to stay in the lab forever.
Hey Neil, what are you doing?
Watering the plants.
What is your favorite task to do in the house?
Definitely watering the plants. That's why I've done it so many times.
Can I shake your hand?
Sorry, 1 second.
Sure.
I need to get out of watering plants mode. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye. Hey Neil.
We're having some networking problems, so Neo is going to be back in a couple of minutes once the equipment is done restarting.
This will be the creepiest thing you see all day. Just a moment, I'm going to roll a video clip of what people say is a gnome, yes, a gnome, caught on camera. And I'm talking about the little gnomes that you see sitting in people's yards. This is allegedly a gnome caught moving through this person's yard. It appears to be pushing something. It was caught on a home security camera. I'm going to roll the clip. I want you to let me know in the comments, what is this? Now, I don't believe gnomes are real. There's a lot of folklore around gnomes or fairies. Some people say it is. Check it out. Let me know in the comments. Watch this.
I don't know. It doesn't look like any kind of nocturnal animal that I could think of. But if you know something I don't, definitely let me know.
All of psychology in 1 minute. You are your thoughts. Change them, and you change your life. Emotions aren't your enemy. They're your compass. Anger means your boundaries were crossed. Fear means it matters. Anxiety means you're living in the future when you should be in the present. Habits are stronger than motivation. Want to change your life? Change your habits. Your past is a book. You can read it, but you can't live in it. Other people are mirrors. What annoys you in them is what annoys them in you. Control is an illusion. The only thing you can control is your decisions. Ultimately, you're the architect, building your life with your thoughts, emotions, and choices.
So is there a God?
There is all that is. This is how we refer to what you call God. Everything is made of God. Existence itself is a self-aware intelligence. Everything is made of God. There's nothing else to make anything from. It is all that is.
Can you tell me about creation? About how it all began?
It didn't begin. Existence only exists. It is what is. It is not subject to the idea of time. Time is subject to it. So existence itself has no beginning and no end. I know that is sometimes a challenge to wrap human minds around, but nevertheless, that's the way it is. Existence has one quality: existence. It doesn't ever become non-existent, because everything that will ever not exist already fills up non-existence. By its own definition, non-existence doesn't exist. That's its quality, to not exist. So that which exists cannot become non-existent.
I've never been with an engineer who has been to Egypt that is not absolutely blown away by what they're seeing. And are saying, no, you can't do it by hand. You can't hold those kind of tolerances by hand. You look at the Ramses statue and you look at the symmetry. It's not two-dimensional symmetry, it's three-dimensional. That radius that you see going around the jawline is moving in 3 axes. And you're still coming up with a radius, perfect radius.
What if I told you those outrageous price tags aren't for the clothes, but for what's delivered behind closed doors? Certain luxury fashion brands, they don't just sell clothes, they recruit followers. The runway shows, just rituals, the models, initiates, and the price tags? Not for the item, but what comes with it. Think about it. How many times have you seen a sweater listed for $12,000 and thought, who's buying that? You're not supposed to, because the item is just a symbol, a placeholder. The real transaction happens elsewhere. These fashion houses have all the signs of a secret order. They speak in symbols. They blur the line between performance and possession. And they love to make the grotesque fashionable. 1 year it's teddy bears in bondage. The next it's childlike models in strange scenes. And people call it avant-garde while pretending not to feel sick. But here's the thing. Cults don't start by showing you the altar. They start with aesthetics, with exclusivity, with status. You think you're buying into fashion, but you're buying into submission. And once you're in, the rules change. You don't question the messaging. You don't ask who's really funding the show. And you never ever talk about what came with your purchase. Because in this world, the ugliest item always has the darkest receipt. So maybe the real question is, are you watching a fashion show or a recruitment ceremony in plain sight? I'm gonna go ahead and say this is just a joke for entertainment purposes.
No one realizes that the 2 astronauts allegedly stranded in space actually never went to space at all. During the live broadcast of the rescue mission for the stranded astronauts, many people noticed something was off. Everything looked like an AI-generated video, with perfect graphics and visual effects. The sky and water were a striking blue. The parachute shape seemed fake, and even dolphins appeared in the distance, like something from a CGI trailer. Not to mention, when the capsule made contact with the cold seawater, there was no steam, despite the heat generated by the high-speed re-entry. Another issue came to light with the timing. When the astronauts landed, they claimed that the rescue fleet would take about 30 minutes to reach them, but in reality, it only took 2 to 3 minutes. Originally, American astronauts Barry Wilmore and Sunita Williams were only supposed to stay in space for 8 days. But strangely, the video that was later released showed them celebrating various holidays with decorations. I can't believe space station supplies would include such items. So there's only one possibility. This whole thing was planned. They never went to space and were just staying somewhere creating a fake stranded in space illusion. The most crucial point is the report that they returned to Earth aboard SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule. But we all know that SpaceX's spacecraft had already experienced 2 failed test flights this year. On January 16th, it disintegrated during a test flight, and on March 6th, an energy event caused multiple Raptor engines to fail, leading to the spacecraft's loss of control and disintegration. Do you still believe this story is true?
One after another, people are dropping videos trying their best to debunk the whole situation. The most compelling might have been the previous video with the CGI test. That probably might have been the most interesting to me. But let me know what you think about the situation.
When you connect to the airport Wi-Fi, experts warn there are hackers trolling these free connections and sometimes impersonating the networks, all in an effort to get your credit card numbers and other sensitive information.
There are 2 main ways. One, they create fake networks that are named very similar to the official airport network in hopes that you connect directly to their network. And once you do that, they can spy on everything that you do, all the sensitive data. And even if you do manage to connect to the certified official airport network, it turns out that anytime you connect to a Wi-Fi network, airport or otherwise, and you're not entering a password, all of your data, everything you do is sent to everybody connected to that network. So while you're sitting at your terminal and you're waiting for your flight to board and you connect to even the certified airport network, basically anybody who wants to can listen into all the data that you transmit from your computer or phone across that network.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Everybody listening has done this. I'm guilty of this. So what do you do when you're at the airport, you have a bad signal, and you need to get on the internet?
You can always kind of use what we call HTTPS, or just look for the little green lock or other symbol to say that you are connected to the website that you think you're connected to. Other options are you can forego the airport network entirely. Use your cell phone, create a hotspot, and use your cell phone's hotspot feature to do that. Another option for the more technically sophisticated people, especially if you're going to do something for work, is use a virtual private network, a VPN, as you've probably heard it. And once you're using one of these 3 features, the power of cryptography ensures that everything you do can't be seen or even modified by attackers.
And this is one of the reasons I know that all the accusations against Michael Jackson were complete bull. Michael Jackson's born in 1958, the year of the dog. People who are born in dog years, my kid is born in the year of the dog, he always wants to play. He will he'll come up to me in the morning, give me a kiss and hug, try to butter me up. It's like, Daddy, can we play? He doesn't care what the game is. Just throw a ball, he'll go get it. Something. That's what dogs need, an outlet for fun. And by the way, people who are born in dog years, they love kids. They absolutely love kids. And this is one of the reasons I know that all the accusations against Michael Jackson were complete bull. Michael Jackson's born in 1958, the year of the dog. He loves kids. He was not that P word. He just wasn't, okay? And the fact that the elite are trying to bring this guy down almost 2 decades after he, that's how I know he might be a saint. Wow. They keep going after this guy. Now, because your kid's born on the 28th, listen, I know you can't talk through the computer screen, but you got much richer since that kid came into your life. See, I gave that Matrix hack to people for free.
Another presence in the universe, which visits us, and we don't understand it. But, it's capable of, transforming itself into anything it wants to do. It can manipulate matter. It can manipulate the electromagnetic spectrum. It can show us things that may be real or may not be real. It can be real and not real at the same time. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. And then this whole idea of sovereignty comes in, free will comes in. And then you're worried about, will society be able to withstand it? Socioeconomically, what will happen? Will things stop religiously? There are so many aspects surrounding this. I'm sure people have whispered in some people's ears, do you really want to do this?
The thing with Enoch is that it was never considered banned. It was always part of a group of Jewish literature, which was very important within sort of the Jewish understanding. So we've largely been talking almost exclusively, I think, about documents that post-date the New Testament documents.
Yeah.
Right? So the Gospels that were written by the various Gnostic groups, those are after Jesus. Enoch comes before Jesus, and it's in a category of literature that was written between the last book of the Old Testament and the first book of the New Testament. So there's about 400 years there between, I mentioned, in the Protestant Old Testament, you have the last book is Malachi. Between Malachi and Matthew, there's a 400-year gap, which is sometimes referred to as the 400 years of silence, which is a bit of a misnomer because it wasn't silent. There was a whole bunch of Jewish literature being written, but there was this cultural understanding within ancient Judaism that the voice of God was not being communicated through prophets in the same way. So that's why it's sometimes referred to as that. However, the Jews are writing all sorts of things. And one of those things that they were writing on was the book of Enoch.
Many of them say they have spiritual gifts, which I think we can pretty much validate at this point.
When you say spiritual gifts, what do you mean by that?
Whether or not it's ability to see disease or illness in someone and be able to diagnose it before this person knows that there's something wrong. Reading an aura and, saying that they can see a color around not just animals and humans, but plants. Being able to speak multiple languages, even though you haven't been taught them, or playing instruments and knowing music, or being able to access almost any song and having perfect pitch. Being able to visit people in dreams. And then, I think some of the more just like mind-altering, shocking things for me was how many non-speaking individuals have said that they are able to speak with people from the other side. And yeah, so it didn't just start with telepathy or end with telepathy. It's a plethora of things.
So do you think that this is an emerging aspect of human consciousness, or do you think perhaps this is something maybe we had before we were verbal that we've lost, but that lays dormant, like that we don't need it, so like a muscle, it atrophies?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think we all have these abilities.
And that's where I definitely will agree. I feel like every single person on this earth has those abilities. But some people are just more tapped in than others. That's about it.
So there's some really spooky stuff going on the east coast of Florida off of Daytona Beach right now. In the past 24 hours, huge glowing UFO beings have been seen over the ocean on the opposite side of the world. The first video is from Daytona Beach, Florida, and the other 3 images are from Lebanon. Now, over on X and Reddit, there are a group of whistleblowers talking about the U.S. Navy finding a gigantic ship under the water just outside of the coast of Daytona Beach, and it's evidently putting out pulses of energy and knocking out the power of the U.S. Navy ships. And then now, over the past 24 hours, there are objects coming out of the water and flaring up into the sky. Now, if you don't believe me, go on over to X, type in Daytona Beach, Florida, and you will see countless videos of objects coming out of the water and flaring out as bright as a star. Now, I would post a video of this, but a lot of times when you post anything like that on TikTok, they're going to suppress your video. So if this is something that interests you guys, let me know in the comments. I have family in Daytona Beach, and if this video does well, I may just go down there and investigate for myself.
Astronauts that you just helped save from space, they didn't get any overtime pay for all that extra time. They got $5 a day per diem. Oh. For 286 days, that is $1,430 in extra pay. Is there anything the administration can do to get them, to make them whole?
Well, nobody's ever mentioned this to me. If I have to, I'll pay it out of my own pocket, okay? I'll get it for them. I'll take care of that. I like that. I think that's... I'll pay it right out of my... Is that all? That's not a lot for what they had to go through. And I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, because... think if we don't have him. There's only so long, even though they're in the capsule up there, that the body starts to deteriorate after 9 or 10 months and gets really bad after 14, 15 months with the bones and the blood and all the things that you've been reporting on very well. And if we don't have Elon, they could be up there a long time. Who else is going to get them?
Yeah, he was saying what I just said. How do you put so little value on human life, right?
Dude, this new pyramid shit that's just come out?
Oh, this is insane. It's quite stunning. So apparently, through the use of LiDAR, they have discovered that there are enormous structures underneath the Great Pyramid that go kilometers deep into the earth with coils. So enormous pillars, and then these coils. They don't understand what it is because they're just looking at LiDAR images. But whatever this is a uniform structure. There's several pillars, and all of this is like very, very, very weird.
Yeah, 600 meters descending down those cylinders, and then there's more stuff below it, and then there's additional structures inside of it. Yeah, that was crazy.
It's really crazy.
What's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock. In fact, over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far.
I don't want to get down a weird rabbit hole here. Possibly in Mexico. The silver grizzly bear in the high Mexican Sierras. What? Ongoing reports of grizzlies. So the same species that would have been here, right, that hung out in the Sierras, it's of Mexico, and then in these, what they call sky islands, if you're familiar with that term. I'll explain in a second. These islands of isolated habitat up in the sky where they get more rainfall and everything else. There's big tracts of private land down there in Mexico where a couple of these farmers are like, something's killing my cattle and it's not a mountain lion. And it could potentially be like half a dozen Mexican grizzly bears.
Couldn't it be jaguars, though?
Could be, but they're saying it's not cats. There's like reported sightings of seeing bears.
Really?
And if you look up the Mexican grizzly bear, it was declared extinct 20 years before another one was killed. So they're like, nah, they're gone, they're declared extinct, then 20 years later some guy shoots one. But take a look at when the last one was killed, and then if you can find it, see where it says they were extinct, and it's...
That is a fucking grizzly bear.
Do we ever stay on a timeline very long? Like, do people stay on a timeline, or are we constantly jumping, moving?
We're constantly jumping. What he's saying is we are literally shifting through billions of parallel realities every second. You don't have the same body every second. You have another, and another, and another, and another. This is what he's talking about when we say we are co-creators with creation. You are literally creating a new reality every second. This is the power of our spirits. We are constantly projecting billions of times a second, like the frames on a film strip, one after another, a new frame, a new frame, a new frame, a new frame, that gives us our sense of movement and continuity and time and change. That's how we've created the experience of physical reality. And therefore, we actually are new people every second, billions of times a second. So he's basically saying when you can really wrap your mind around the fact that you are new every moment, you can define yourself however you wish to be, because you're always going back to 0, 0, 0, 0. And whatever you define yourself to be in the next moment is what you experience your reality to be.
Look how it looks. Down right now. Look how it looks.
One single individual who is the most dominant mind on planet Earth at the moment, effectively Voldemort, the person whose name we are a little bit afraid to invoke and cause wrath, said in 1984, no, string theory is the way. This anomaly cancellation was unexpected, and it clearly points to the fact that we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to quantize.
Who's that person?
Edward Witten.
And in physics circles, you're not allowed to bring this guy up?
No, we talk about him. Everybody talks about him. But to challenge him? Think about Agent Smith. Think about playing one-on-one with Michael Jordan in his prime.
He's that good.
Joe, I don't think I'm dumb enough not to be intellectually afraid of anyone else on planet Earth at this point. I am terrified of this person.
Really?
And has never made contact with the physical world. So it's like one of the greatest conundrums. So let me get back to how crazy.
What do you mean by never made contact?
No Nobel Prize, never predicted something that turned out to be true, never pointed us to do an experiment that was then validated. So 100% of his efforts have been not making contact
with physical reality.
Doesn't that sound kind of like the Satoshi guy, you know, the dude who started Bitcoin? Sounds a little bit like him, but not. But you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam. I got a lot of new clips that you guys have sent in that I'll be playing in the next episode, and I'll definitely catch you on the next one.